Y'all, it's November 3rd, just past midnight, about 1 in the morning. Just got home from work. Hectic beginning to the holiday season theater. And I want to go to my room and go watch regular show for like at least 5 episodes. But I have music on my mind. On this episode, I just wanted to quickly just talk about massive pop tracks that like are, that define like pop culture for like that year. And how we play them so much for that season that it's almost like we get so used to it, it becomes so iconic that when we go back and listen to it, it's like, oh yeah, like that sound. And it's so easy to write off like just how unique and game-changing that sound was to pioneer and be that much of a hit. From the mix to the production choices, everything is unique, and it comes together to make something so magic that it's like it just takes the radio waves, the internet waves by storm. So I was listening to Halo by Beyonce the other day, and this drive home I was listening to the Astroworld album, and I was going to skip Sicko Mode, but then I just played it. And I mean, like Halo, we've heard these songs 1,000 times, so we just kind of, I just kind of was like, okay, I know what it sounds like. It sounds like this and this. But really listening to these hits intentionally and trying to have fresh ears, you hear mixing choices and you hear production choices that are stupid unique, that like are trend setting. And I mean, one thought that I was thinking with like Sicko Mode was like how shrill the mix sounds. And I'm like, I was getting annoyed because I was like, okay, like, why does it's sounding like a little shrill? It's keeping me from turning the volume up too much, because those frequencies are like, they're hurting me. Anyways, that choice to make them shrill is an interesting one, because what I was thinking was like, oh, that's the energy they want. They want it to hurt. It's called Sicko Mode. There's a lot of spooky sounds that I just wrote off, but it's there. And I don't know, it's just it's very hard to describe these sounds and these textures that make these songs go so hard. Like in Sicko Mode, there's like, it's like, made these from without the ice out in the booth and the gate outside. The whole time there's this thing that's going chick, 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 chick. And then there's a secondary little hi-hat that is doing the trills. And there's like a synth bass that's like jamming out. It's insanely like groovy and pockety and much more complex. It's like a deceptively complex beat is what I'd say. Like usually they say like keep it simple, stupid. But I think when you're super freaking good and, you know, not, they don't, like, the top producers don't do this to every song. But when they find that gem that's like, this is a hit, they put in tiny ass details that, in the grand scheme of things, like, total sum, yes, it makes the song more complicated and it's more textured. But it's like, they pay so much attention and such careful attention that it works. It like goes past the point of like, you know, let's keep it simple and it'll hit harder. It to the point where it's like, it's hella complicated and it'll but like it's complicated in such an effective way that it's like simple plus. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's something that I've been noticing. Essentially, it's like creating a whole sonic soundscape with things in the back, in the front, so many textures, like a complex flavor, right? It's like, you know, generally a successful formula for like a pop song, you know, having every element be unique, having every element hit appropriately and whatnot. You know, it's like a cheeseburger. You know, how can you go wrong? Or a hot dog. But when you have these, like, era-defining moments, it's like you can go Gordon Ramsay. It's not a cheeseburger or a hot dog anymore. It's like you can listen to it over and over and over again, and you can discover new sounds every single time, because that's what I'm saying. There's so many fucking layers that it's like, you know, some songs, I want to say, like, you know, Mo Bamba, for example, kind of like, I feel as though like I could, you know, view the layers, like, here's the bun, here's the patty, pickles, lettuce, tomato, cheese, bun, versus Sicko Mode. It appears that way, like a sandwich, but then you look into the layers and you're like, that tomato has all this texture, and it's that just the tomato was grown in this part of the world, and it was handpicked from this and this, and the cheese is like a blend of like all these fancy cheeses. It's like that, you know, it's in a simple package, but it's like has stupid amount of depth and flavor, you could say, groove, like ear candy, things that like probably nobody gives a shit about consciously, but subconsciously it's tickling like the back of their ears, and it's making them, it's giving it so much depth, and so on and so forth. One thing that I noticed about, you know, these huge songs from like the era of like Halo by Beyonce is like, that era has its own, those pop producers had their own bag of tricks. And I want to say that their tricks, their production was more out of the box. Everything sounded more acoustic. Because I think those guys grew up, you know, with the big consoles, and the analog this, and the recorded live drums, and the recorded acoustic guitars. They left that in that era, and then I listened to this, you know, album Astroworlds, and I hear they fucking put reverb, and really interesting reverb on the 808 and the drums, and the way they saturated the highs, is you can tell these are masters within the box now, within software. And yeah, I just wanted to make a little rant about the little details and the, I don't know, there's something about like the intricacies of pop music that we take for granted, I guess, when we think about, oh, that song, like, and I just am so admiring the uniqueness, the magic that comes from these unique sounds that are so tastefully put in to songs. And I'm admiring the extremely complex tapestry of detail that these groups of producers and engineers and artists have put into these hit songs that people write off as just like, oh, that was that song, like. And I do it too. I literally do it too. Like, literally all the time. All these songs that you're just like, oh yeah, that played on the radio forever, and you're just like, oh, like you don't give it a second thought. But when you listen to it again, you realize like there is a huge list of reasons why that song went big. And including funding and including the industry magic of like pushing it through their channels, but at the same time, like, damn, just from like a music standpoint, from innovation and especially innovation with like sonic innovation. I feel like that's the thing. I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm tired. I just wanted to point that out and say what was on my mind musically. I guess in conclusion, like, my takeaway is that it's almost like you know how your third eye, you know how like if you had a third eye, like, you know, third eye, like if you could see into a world and you're like, you think you've been seeing everything, but you've only been seeing like the tiniest little pixel. And then you let your third eye open and you let all those thoughts of, and like all this perception of like sound into your mind. Like, I feel like that is the realm of like truly analyzing these pop hits for like actually what they are, instead of writing it off as like a general picture. Like, truly, from a production standpoint, every little, you know, thing, including the mix and like how the producer would think about how these sounds come together, and also being aware of what is hot, and doing and filling those needs in a way that's different from everything that's going on. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to that stuff. Anywho, my own music has teeter-tottered between super complex. It started off like super simple, as everybody's does. Now, and then it got really complex. I was throwing everything at the wall. And now that I'm mixing my own stuff, then then I'm like, okay, I don't want to have to mix all these fucking tracks. It makes it sound like garbage anyways, because everything's competing with everything. So now I'm swinging back to simple. But now with this third eye thing that I'm talking about, with analyzing these big pop hits with like really interesting and complex rhythms and, you know, musical stuff that's like, you know, advanced. It is very advanced musical stuff that they put into these these like massive hits. It's like musically innovative, technologically innovative. The mix philosophy is innovative. It's advanced. It's like simple, advanced, simple. It's simple plus. I'm gonna say simple plus. And yeah, because here's the fucking thing, guys. I know I might sound like a crazy person, but you know how people say, oh, you can play all these, like, you know, pop songs in, you know, they're just 4 chords. They're just 4 chords. It's so simple. It's just 4 chords. That's the simple, right? And then there's simple plus, which is like the actual song. It's not just 4 chords. When you simplify it, it's very easy to simplify. They made it that way so babies can like it. But the trick is having that simplicity that babies can enjoy, and so that the people that are saying, oh, you can just play 4 chords, you know, by design, so that all of the fans from all skill levels can cover that song and just be like, oh, 4 chords. I can cover that song. And then, you know, you're singing their praises because that's when they have you. But I think the trick is not just those 4 chords, you know, for making a pop song. It's also the innovation, the sonic innovation, which is the mix, the production, the textures, the philosophy of the sound choice, the innovation, the awareness of what is trending music theory wise, what is trending genre wise, what is trending timbre wise, as a, you know, what, like, you know, what drum machine do you use, what beat do you emphasize. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's so fucking much that I feel like a lot of people are not aware. And I wanted to share my passion of that. Anyways, yeah, so I was saying I'm shifting like back and forth between like complicated music, or like complicated as in like hella tracks, like 50 tracks, or like, you know, a lot. Because what I'm essentially what I'm chasing is like that pop magic that I grew up with, that I feel, you know, it took me it took me stupidly long to understand like pop vocals and like the magic of like Kelly Clarkson or Selena, or, you know, Katy Perry, or, you know, all these female vocals. There are pop artists like Taylor Swift, honestly, like all pop artists. It took me so long to realize that like they were using that they have like that they had so many layers, that they didn't just have one vocal in the recording or in the song. Like, you know, there's a lot of female singers and the female pop artists. Their hits have like a million vocal tracks doing like nuanced things. at different times to emphasize different things, and like unison harmonies, octave harmonies, whispering takes, different layers, different harmonies at different times, panned in different places to make there's, I don't know. Same thing with boy bands. I think that's kind of where the format was inspired by, like the modern day, modern meaning like 2010s till now. But yeah. And I almost want to say like those boy band style, Justin Timberlake, Pharrell style, that way of thinking about a pop song, with where you're using your voice to like emphasize and push different sections. That is kind of the core of what I'm getting at, and then just expand that to every sound possible. Or not every sound, but like many other instruments in like the average Hollywood studio. Anyways, that's what's been on my mind. As well as some other stuff, some other music stuff. Yeah, like I was just listening to music in my Apple earpods the other night, and I was just like, wow, they really like emphasize things differently than your phone or most other things. Like my Apple AirPods are the most emphasized. They're like the furthest from like what I hear in my studio monitors and my studio headphones are. Like I was listening to my own stuff too, and that's where this whole pop third eye like rabbit hole started, because I was like listening to my own stuff, and then I listened to some pop songs on my Apple AirPods, and my AirPods were emphasizing different things than any other of my other systems were. And that's when I started thinking, damn, like there's so many other sounds that I don't remember hearing in this pop song that I swear I listened to like 1,000 times. But just because I'm just listening to it in like, probably a more technologically advanced system and a different one, because Apple AirPods emphasize different things. I just want to drill that point. And they're extremely fun to listen to because of that. But yeah, that's where this all started, because Apple AirPods emphasize different things in the mix, in the music, than I remember. It's like they push out different sections of the side of of each ear, right? Things panned left, it's panned in a different, more spherical way than a studio or anything else. Like imagine sound being like flatter. The Apples, it's like panned like this, so like you hear like the big sound right here, and you hear some stuff right there, some stuff right there. It's different. That's what I was hearing. And yeah. Okay, one last fun little thing is I was listening to Bleeding Love, right? That one song that goes, and I don't care what they say, I'm in love with you. Try to pull me away, they don't know the truth. So listening to that and the kick, they clipped it. They like clipped it on purpose, really, like a lot, like to where it sounds like this one song in Regular Show where the basketball god like pulls up and like that beat is supposed to like sound like, you know, someone like like turning their like the bass, the sub on their car like way up, so where you can hear the trunk rattling, so to where like, you know, the 808 goes like that, like on Bleeding Love, the kick, they clipped it to where it sounds like that. It sounds like it's like a kick, like a hip hop kick blowing through like a blown out like car sub. And that's the kind of uniqueness and the mixing innovation, the sonic innovation that I'm talking about for hit songs that you may not realize is there, but it is there, and your subconscious totally realizes it, and your ears love it. And go listen to it, because it's there. And, you know, if you hear it with the right system, you're gonna, you know, it's gonna be folded in and tucked in to, if you listen to it with certain systems. But if you listen to it with Apple EarPods, you'll probably, it due to like how they pan and whatnot, and probably more focus on like mids, you will hear it, and it's like, what the fuck, like that's breaking the rules, but in a tasteful way that's like advanced. And it sounds like we're like like it's not a clean kick, it's like they fucking clipped it, and it sounds like doo-doo on its own, but in the song they kind of snuck it in and made it tasteful. That's the difference between having American cheese on your burger or having like a blend of like Wisconsin aged and like Californian special milk and stuff from Minnesota cheese. That would still be considered American, but it's like, it's got layers. It's different. It's the same thing, but different. I'm done. This has been Music on My Mind. It's your boy, JBunny, and I'm out. Thank you for watching. Peace.